It's that little on-ramp that most people don't think about.
Hi there, this is Bianca Lopes and this is Be in the Know, brought to you by Tail, and I have Ian with me. Ian, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Okay, 5.5 years at Salesforce. So what do you do at Salesforce now?
So I look after, from a product management perspective, our identity, privacy, and data governance products. Whether it's an employee that wants to use our services, you got to log in, or it's a citizen or consumer who wants to engage with an organization. It's digital engagement starts with, I need you digitally engaged.
Yeah.
That's a registration process, or it's a sign-in process. It's that little on-ramp that most people don't think about.
Yeah.
So my team looks after a bunch of different things like this. About the same time, I was at one of these conferences and saw my friends in industry, which I genuinely love this community.
Yeah,
and I'm where my friends, and I had this moment just struck me of like, where are the new people? Right? I know all of you.
Yeah.
We're the new people. And so I started asking people questions like, how do you build an identity professional in your enterprise? How long does that take you?
A long time.
How did you learn this discipline?
Yeah.
More often than not, people said, I learned a product, and then I learned another one, and then I learned another one, and then I could have abstracted. I'm like, oh, this is like a thing.
Yeah, it is.
So I talked to enterprises, I talked to my peers around the world, and pretty consistent story. It takes a long time to build an identity professional.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of tools to do that other than either vendor-specific material. And there was enough people that are like, I'm like, does everyone think this is a problem? And everybody I talked to is like, yeah, it's a problem. Like, I think someone should solve that. And they all went, yeah, Ian, you should solve that. I was like, oh.
The problem of being the person who talks about the problem.
I didn't see, again, not very bright. I'm like, I didn't see that coming. So we first formed a working group inside of the Kantara Initiative. So very kindly incubated the thought process. For people
out there, tell them, what is Kantara Initiative?
So Kantara Initiative is an organization that helps bring together people interested in identity-related stuff, help them build solutions to specific problems. Like, for example, how do I standardize the way I say, you know, Bianca, it's okay that you can get my email address and my photo from this repository of information. So things like UMA, which is one of those things, to working on very specific things about how do we know, how do we join a framework to validate that identity information is valid, is accurate, and is interchangeable and usable. So Kantara has a wide range of things that they help incubate and turn towards standards and certification.
So I'm going to plane this down. So think of Kantara as, correct me if I'm wrong, a bit of a sandbox for interoperability standards and creation of solutions amongst identity professionals.
And it's also a great place that real smart people get together with problems, like real focused problems, and say, how do we collectively go after this thing? How do we collectively solve this thing? What we were starting to form was, what should the shape of the organization be? Because we're all identity practitioners. We didn't know how to start a professional organization. So a year later, we incorporated. So that's 2 years ago. 2 years ago, next week, in fact. And we launched a professional organization, not really knowing how to do it. And we formed a great board of practitioners to help guide it. And now it's about practitioners helping one another. Essentially, how can we learn from each other? Because I do believe that we can foster excellence and ethics and identity management through helping one another.
Agreed. So what are in the plans for IDPro? And if you're watching and are interested, how does somebody get involved?
Sure. So IDPro.org, we believe that this world of identity, this discipline of identity, is actually a real practice. We are professionals.
Agreed.
We've never had a voice that way.
Agreed.
And so anything we can do to help bring more voices to the table, more diversity in the market, only improves us.
I agree.
And once we have that, can we start to offer a certification that shows, look, I've put in my time to learn this, and I can say that here's a third party saying, I have a baseline awareness of how does this all work?
I would love for that to happen. So, Ian, any leaving thoughts of somebody who's like, oh my God, that's super interesting, never thought about doing this? Where would you start? Because it is a bit of a cliquey industry, even though we're all fairly nice.
So I think there's a couple. One is, if you have interest in digital engagement and your world is like, I want these people interacting with these amazing services that we offer, public sector, private sector, it doesn't matter.
Whatever you're in.
If you're interested in that,
You're interested in identity. You just don't know it.
You don't know it. And here's the thing. You shouldn't have to know it hardcore like you and I do. But you should know the bits of how
Who
do we
are my allies?
Well, it's what you need to know in the business is what's our journey mapping for how do we get new people to use the service? And I don't mean the upstream marketing. I mean, when they come to the service, how do we get them in and working with us?
How
and
do you
when they
become
come
a
back,
good listener from a data perspective? Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
When they come back, how do we know it's them and not be like, sorry, who are you again? And so places to start are where there are conferences aplenty everywhere,
Yeah.
right? I would say go and sit in the back of the room of any one of these things and listen to what they call CIAM, Customer Identity and Access Management. And listen to people talk about registration processes. Listen to people talk about social sign-on processes. Just get a flavor for that. That's all you need to do. Don't go learn the standards. Don't go hang out with the standards buyer, although they're great and they will suck you in.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a ton to take in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing about identities. Traditionally, we've had a lot of standards work, which attracts a certain group of professionals who do that for a living. But what we haven't had is a place of saying, like, you're representing a business concern, which is, I work for a local municipality and we're offering ride services for people over 65, let's say.
Yeah. I have nothing to do with digital identity, is what they would
You
say.
don't, yeah, I don't feel like.
I know my persona already. I don't
Right.
need to.
But you know what? Those people increasingly have a smartphone. The channel through which you'd like to interact with them should be as easy as possible.
They have a vouching problem if they can't walk themselves.
So there's all of these things. These are at their core identity problems. But what you should come to the table as someone who's just interested in is, this is the problem I have. This is the business problem I have to solve. This is the mission I have, which is I want to help people in my local municipality get access to these amazing services. How do I get there?
Ian, pleasure as always.
Oh my God, I'm so glad we got to do this.
I know, me too. So if you're curious, follow Ian, be in the know, and we'll see you next time.